Now the main headlines. United Nations Rights Chief condemns deteriorating conditions in the Gaza Strip amid intensified Israeli airstrikes. UNICEF says that over 50 children killed in Afghanistan floods. Iraqi government calls on 60 countries to repatriate their ISIS member citizens. And London hosts largest gathering of Shia institutions and centres worldwide. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is Yunus Dawood and you're watching Shia Waves live from London, only on Imam Hussein TV 3. The United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights, Volker Turk, expressed a deep distress on Sunday over the rapidly deteriorating situations and conditions in the Gaza Strip as Israeli forces continue to intensify airstrikes in the northern part of the Palestinian enclave. He called on Israeli and Palestinian armed groups to urgently agree to a ceasefire and release all hostages immediately. The United Nations Rights Chief stated that since May 6th, when the Israeli Defense Forces ordered the further evacuations from the southern city of Rafah, more than 278,000 people have been displaced, including those with disabilities, the chronically ill and older people, the injured and pregnant women. Turk warned that there is no safe space in Gaza for those exhausted, famished people, who many of them have been displaced multiple times already. Israel's chokehold on aid and fuel hindrances has disrupted everything from transportation to the distribution of food and operation of hospitals and emergency services, sewage treatment and telecommunications. Over 35,000 Palestinians, most of them women and children, have died since, while nearly 78,600 have been wounded, according to the Gazan health authorities. UNICEF reported that out of nearly 300 people who died in recent floods in northeastern Afghanistan, 51 were children. The international organization issued a report of warning an increasing death toll and stated that most of the casualties were in the Baghlan province, where heavy rains destroyed around 3,000 houses and damaged farmland and washed away livestock, closed schools and damaged health centers. The organization has already dispatched family kits, hygiene kits and blankets for adults and babies and clothing kits as well. The government of Iraq has asked all 60 countries where citizens are living in the camp of the families of the radical Sunni group of ISIS to repatriate them as soon as possible. This camp, which lies in northern Syria near the Iraqi border, is scheduled to be closed soon. More details in the following report.
For a long time, the Iraqi authorities have repeatedly called for the dismantling of the AlHol camp in Syria, urging all heads of state to evacuate their nationals from the settlement and warning against the risk of harboring extremism and spreading hatred if the activities in the camp continue. So far, only 24 countries have started repatriating their citizens from the AlHol refugee camp, said Qasim al-Araji, Iraq's national security advisor, in a post on X. He appreciated Russia, which recently returned 32 children between the ages of 5 and 17 to their country. 2 days ago, the U.S. Department of State announced that the United States has returned 11 of its citizens and 6 Canadian children from camps in northeastern Syria. Of the 11 U.S. citizens who were repatriated, 10 belonged to the same family. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken said in a statement on Tuesday that this was the largest number of U.S. citizens ever returned to the U.S. from Syrian camps. 2 weeks ago, Tajikistan returned about 50 other Tajik women and children from Syria to their country. These were the wives and children of Tajik fighters who disappeared or were killed in the wars of the extremist Sunni group ISIS in Syria and Iraq in the 2010s. The last group of Tajik women and children who were returned to Tajikistan from Syria. It should be mentioned that approximately 50,000 people, mostly children from 60 different countries, are stranded in the two densely populated camps of AlHol and Roj in Syria. Half of them, who are Syrian and Iraqi refugees, live in AlHol camp. The AlHol and Roj camps are run by the Kurdish-led Syrian Democratic Forces, which fought the hardline Sunni group ISIS for years until their fall in early 2019. Some countries have refused to repatriate their citizens from these camps. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken said in a statement on Tuesday, the only lasting solution to the humanitarian and security crisis in the refugee camps and detention centers in Syria is for countries to repatriate their nationals and rehabilitate them so that they can become members of society again. This is Ali Al-Hadi reporting for Shia Waves.
Let's take a look back at today's main headlines. United Nations Rights Chief condemns deteriorating conditions in the Gaza amid intensified Israeli airstrikes. UNICEF says that over 50 children killed in Afghanistan floods. Iraqi government calls on 60 countries to repatriate their ISIS member citizens. Also tonight, Grand Ayatollah Sayyid Sadiq al-Hussein Shirazi remarks on implementation of Hudhud in daily scholarly sessions. With the efforts of the Council of Shia Scholars in Europe and Majlis Ulama of Shia Europe, London has hosted the largest gathering of active Shia institutions and centres in the world. The event witnessed various charitable, cultural and intellectual activities, including seminars, dialogues, book fairs and handicraft exhibitions with the participation of over 50 Shia centres and institutions. This annual gathering aims to demonstrate the cooperation and solidarity among these institutions in providing humanitarian, spiritual and religious services to the Shia followers of the Ahlul Bayt alayhum as-salam. Participants consider this global event as an opportunity for exchanging ideas, proposals and collaborations to develop numerous projects and programs aimed at spreading Shia teachings and introducing the ethical teachings of the Ahlul Bayt alayhum as-salam. And now continue with some shorter news. The Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi has reopened the Sayyidah Zainab Mosque after it was closed for renovations. In a statement reported by news outlets, al-Sisi said today, Sunday, that Egypt has a comprehensive plan to develop mosques and sites of the Ahlul Bayt, including several mosques from Al-Qal'a to Sayyidah Nafisa areas. The Sayyidah Zainab Mosque holds a significant place in the hearts of Egyptians, especially amongst those followers of the Holy Prophet and his immaculate family, alayhum as-salam. Kuwait's Emir Sheikh Mish'al Al Ahmed Al Sabah has dissolved the country's parliament and assumed some of its powers. The Emir cited an unhealthy atmosphere and spread of corruption that has even affected the justice system. Weeks after recent elections, the 83-year-old ruler said the failure to form a new government was the result of dictates and conditions of some lawmakers. He suspended parts of the constitution for up to 4 years, stating Kuwait has been through some hard times lately, which leaves no room for hesitation or delay in making a difficult decision to save the country. A recent report by the United Nations Children's Fund, or UNICEF for short, has revealed that 60% of Iraq's young population under the age of 25 are increasingly at risk of climate change. Iraq, already grappling with a myriad of challenges, is now facing the dire consequences of climate change, with children bearing the brunt of its effects, the report said. According to UNICEF, Iraq ranks 61 out of the 163 countries globally in terms of the threats posed by climate change to its children and youth alike. The Iraqi Ministry of Health reports a concerning trend with 20 to 25 children diagnosed with cancer every month, alongside with numerous cases of diarrhea, asthma and dehydration. A new study has revealed that children who persistently sleep fewer hours throughout nighttime duration period are more than twice as likely to develop a psychotic disorder in early adulthood, and nearly 4 times as likely to have a psychotic episode, according to the University of Birmingham. The study was conducted by researchers at the University of Birmingham who have examined information on nighttime sleep duration for children aged between 6 months old and 7 years old. The researchers looked at overall immune system health in the children to see whether impairments to immune system and could also account for some of the accusations of lack of sleep and psychosis. This was tested on 9 years olds by measuring levels of inflammation in blood samples. Results showed that a weakened immune system could partially explain the links between lack of sleep and psychosis, but other unknown factors are also likely to be important. At least 37 people, including children, have been killed and many others are missing after flash floods and cold lava flow from a volcano hit the western part of the country. Amongst the dead, it included a 3-year-old and an 8-year-old. The disaster hit Agam and Tanah Datar districts in the West Sumatra province on Saturday, following hours of heavy rain. Last week, 15 people were killed in South Sulawesi, Indonesia, after landslides and flooding swept away homes and damaged roads. In March, at least 26 people have been found dead after landslides and floods hit West Sumatra. The daily scholarly meetings of Grand Ayatollah Sayyid Sadiq al-Husseini al-Shirazi was held on Sunday, Dhul Qa'dah the 3rd. In his meeting, the conditions of the implementation of Hudhud was discussed. Let's watch the statements of the Grand Ayatollah.
بله قاعدتاً بله، چون یکی از روایات داره که پیغمبر صلی الله علیه و آله فرمودن لولا انی اکره ان یقال، گفته شود معنی که همه بگن، حتی ولو بعضیا بگن. محل خلافه. چرا؟ نه اطلاقات میگیره، اما بعضی گفتن تحصیل کردن.
We have reached the end of today's news. Let's take a look back at the main headlines for this evening. United Nations Rights Chief condemns deteriorating conditions in Gaza amid intensified Israeli airstrikes. UNICEF says that over 50 children killed in Afghanistan and floods. The Iraqi government calls on 60 countries to repatriate their ISIS member citizens. London hosts largest gathering of Shia institutions and centres worldwide. And Grand Ayatollah Sayyid Sadiq al-Husseini al-Shirazi remarks on the implementation of Hudud in daily scholarly sessions. You can view the latest news on our website, or you can send news of your city or country to be published on our news agency. Contact us on the numbers at the bottom of your screen. Thank you all for watching, and we pray to Allah the Almighty to hasten the reappearance of the Master of our time. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد إلهي عظم البلاء